Hi everyone, my name is Jenny and I'm back today to do another video. As you probably saw from the title of this video, this is going to be another reading vlog. It's been a while, or at least it feels like it's been a while since I've filmed anything. I guess it's been about 2 weeks since I did my July wrap up and my booktube prize discussion, as well as my August TBR. And these kind of 12 days, it's the 12th right now, I've been somewhat busy, but also not that busy. I'm not really sure why I haven't been filming, but I haven't. But over the next couple of weeks, I definitely will have a lot more content coming. But to kind of get back into the swing of things, I thought I would do a reading vlog, especially because I am reading an absurd number of books right now. I'm reading 8 books. And yeah, so I'm gonna quickly go over the books that I'm currently reading right now. So it's the 12th, as I said, and I've read 5 books since the start of August. And because I was gone this past weekend, I was helping my sister move back to DC. I wasn't able to do a weekly wrap up like I have been doing in the past. So I think my plan is to do a mid-month wrap up in a couple days. We will see how that pans out. But I do have 5 books that I haven't talked about that I finished since the start of the month. So look out in the near future. Actually, the mid-month wrap up will probably go up before this one does, if I'm being realistic. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of do a casual vlog. There's not really a theme or anything to this vlog, except that there are 8 books that I'm reading, and I would like to finish the majority of them in the near future because I'm kind of midway through all 8 of them, or at least, you know, some distance through each of them. So there are 2 of them that I definitely won't be finishing this week because they're more long-term projects. The first of which is The New Daughters of Africa, edited by Margaret Busby. I'm about a third of the way through, maybe 25% of the way through. And this one is still really enjoyable. I'm really discovering a lot of authors that I'd never heard of that I'm definitely interested in checking out more, but I'm only on page 243 out of 1,000 pages, and so this one is definitely, it's one that I'm not planning on finishing until December or something anyway, so I have a lot of time to work on this one, but it is one that I will be reading throughout this week. Additionally, another kind of more long-term project book is The Fragile Earth, Writings from the New Yorker about climate change, and this one is pretty much what it says on the tin. This one is actually not coming out until October, and so I got it as an early ARC from Neck Alley, but it's about 600 pages because it's a bunch of New Yorker articles, and the New Yorker publishes very long form journalism. So I wanted to kind of get a head start on reading some of these articles, and as it says in its subtitle, it's a bunch of different writings that the New Yorker has published over the years, starting I believe in 1989 with Bill McKibben's The End of Nature, and moving all the way to 2019 or potentially even 2020, I'm not quite sure. Basically just about kind of climate change reporting, discussions of policy, particularly in the United States, but I think elsewhere in the world as well. And I'm really excited about this. I'm sure there are some of the articles in here that I've already read through school or just kind of in my own personal life, but it will be nice to kind of have them all in one place. And yeah, I'm about halfway through. I was actually reading Bill McKibben's The End of Nature this morning, and I'm about halfway through that article, but my Kindle tells me they take about 20 minutes to read, so I may or may not read a couple more at some point this week, and I'll kind of keep up with those ones. But yeah, it's just kind of a long-term project that I'm working on. Then there are 2 books that I'm reading for specific video ideas that I have. The first of which is another ebook, which is Yes, No, Maybe So by Becky, Albertalli, and Aisha, Saeed. I'm hoping, as I think I mentioned in my TBR talk, which I'll put a link up in the cards above because all the books that I will be reading in this vlog I talked about a bit in that TBR video. But this one is a YA contemporary that has kind of themes of political activism and political engagement, especially in young people, and obviously there's a bit of romance in there because it's YA contemporary, and it's set here in Atlanta, which is where I'm from, as both of the authors are also from here, although I think they both live out in the burbs, which, you know, it's fine. Sometimes the burbs are fine. So yeah, I'm about 15-ish% of the way through Yes, No, Maybe So, but I would like to kind of pick up speed on that one, as I do have 3 arcs that are all coming out in the later half of the month that I would ideally like to read before they come out, or right around the time they come out, which I think they all come out on the 25th, so it's 20-ish days from now, or not 20, 15-ish days from now. So those are the ebooks I'm reading, but then I also have another book that I'm reading for a video, which is Homegoing by Yaa Gyasi. This is a reread for me, and I'm a little over halfway done, and I'm really loving this book. I gave it 5 stars the first time I read it, and I think I will give it 5 stars again. It's a phenomenal book, and definitely one of my favorite books of all time. And I actually, when I started reading this, I was like so excited to be reading this again that I actually pre-ordered a signed copy of her new book, Transcending Kingdom, which is coming out at the beginning of September, I think. So super excited about that one. We'll definitely be reading it as soon as it arrives to me. So this Homegoing, which I actually have the dust jacket right here. That's what it looks like. It has a different paperback cover, which is probably the cover you'd find now if you have not read Homegoing, which I feel like almost everyone has. But this one is definitely probably the top priority for me at the moment because it's for my African Women Writers Project, and I usually like to do those videos around the middle of the month. As I said, it's the 12th, so I should finish this book very soon. I have 6 of the characters left, or 6 of the stories left, and I've been reading them kind of as couplets because if you don't know, this follows 2 half-sisters, each born in Ghana in the 1770s or around 1770, and it follows their lineages as one of them is sold into slavery and brought on the Middle Passage through to America, and like her family is enslaved, and then the other sister actually marries a British slave trader, and so they live a very different life in Ghana, and it basically just follows their 2 families over several generations until the present day. So I have like 6 stories left. I'm in the kind of late 1800s, actually probably early 1900s by now, of the kind of narrative, and I've been reading them as little couplets, so like each sister's descendant of that kind of time period is one right after the other, so I've been reading them that way. And I have 6 of them left, as I've now said like 3 or 4 times, but I'm planning on reading probably 4 of them today and then read the last 2 that are the present day stories tomorrow. So that's kind of my plan for this one. This is probably the first one I will finish, and it's also the one I'm the farthest along in. And then I also just have 4 books I'm just reading for fun. The one that I've been reading the longest is Barrel Aged Stout and Selling Out, Goose Island, Anheuser-Busch, and How Craft Beer Became Big Business by Noel. This one is really interesting if you like craft beer and also like business dealings and kind of the corporatization of and commodification of things like craft beer. I think this is a very fascinating and well researched and written book, but it does move very slowly. But I have less than about 120 pages I think left to go, so ideally I would like to finish this before the end of the week, but again I don't know because I'm reading this one so slowly. But this one has been just like a book that is taking me forever to read, and I would really like to get it done. So there's that one. And then the other 2 physical books I have, they're in my tote bag as they always are. We have Grief Cottage by Gail Godwin, which I'm about halfway done with. And this one, for only being about like 300-ish pages, is incredibly slow going. This one follows a young boy named Marcus who goes to live with his great aunt after his mother dies in a, I was about to say plane crash, but it's a car crash. And it basically just kind of follows him and his like adventures with his great aunt, and it's just like really slow going. I almost thought about DNFing it, but I'm not disliking it necessarily. It's just like the most slow going meandering book that I've read in like a really long time. But yeah, I'm about halfway through this one. Oh, my kitty's getting up. Hi, Maurice. He's probably freaked out. Anyway, so this one is another one that I'm hoping to finish within the next couple days. And then I'm also reading and really enjoying Rich People with Problems by Kwan. This one is the 3rd in the like Crazy Rich Asians series, and I was hesitant to pick this one up because I didn't really like the second one that much, but this one is much better. This one, I think part of the problem with the second one was that I was expecting more of Nick and Rachel's story, which is predominantly the characters that we follow in the first one, but that's not really the case. We actually kind of gain this whole new cast of characters in the second one, and I think knowing that this whole new cast of characters was part of the story made me prepared for all of them to like show up in this one, which there are a lot of them. It kind of follows the whole family that Nick is a part of. I'm trying to find the like family tree. It's very complicated. But like here's the whole family tree situation. So we follow a bunch of these characters, all of whom are kind of coming together and figuring out what will happen as their grandmother, the matriarch of the family, is dying. And so her inheritance and her estate and all of that is kind of up for grabs because Nick was supposed to get it, but because of the events in the first book involving Rachel, he was kind of disowned from the family. Not necessarily officially disowned, but because he did not marry a wealthy Singaporean woman, he has kind of been looked down upon by the rest of the family. So I'm sure there will be some kind of heartwarming moments in this one as well. I'm about 90-ish, yeah, 80-ish pages into this one, and so yeah, also hoping to finish this one. And then the last one I'm reading is an audiobook, which is The Damned by Renee Ahdieh. This is the second one in, I don't know what this series is called, but the first one was The Beautiful, and it's a YA, I guess it's fantasy. I mean, it's kind of urban fantasy-ish. I don't know, paranormal, I guess is the best word to describe it. Historical fiction that is set in the 1870s in New Orleans, and basically follows a group of vampires and some like intrigue that's happening there. The vampire part is a lot more prominent in this one because it kind of came to fruition, the vampire aspect of the story, right at the end of the first book. And I'm enjoying this one. I listened to the first one on audio and I really enjoyed it. And now this second one, I started listening to it and I was like, this person's voice is so annoying. But I am getting more used to it, and I'm about 20% of the way through that one. So should be also listening to that one some during this week. And I've been talking for 12 minutes already, so this vlog is going to be very long. And you can see my cat, he wants to be on camera. But I will kind of next check in with you probably some point either later today or tomorrow when I've made some progress in these books. I think that's everything. So welcome to this vlog. Yay. Okay, it is now the early afternoon on Thursday the 13th. I did not update you really at all yesterday because I barely read anything yesterday after I updated you the first time. I ended up running many errands that took almost all day. And then I was exhausted and didn't really feel like reading. And then this morning I went to go pick up my bike that was at the bike shop and rode it back home, but it was really hot. And so that was also exhausting. And so now it's already the afternoon of the 13th and I have not read anything. So my plans for right now are, I don't really have anything else that's happening this afternoon except I'm doing a socially distanced dinner with some friends. So I'm going to try to finish Homegoing. I read none of it yesterday. I did read a little bit of some of my other books, and I actually determined how many pages I have in the books, the like 6 books that I talked to you about that I'm hoping to actually finish this week. And the one that I'm really closest to finishing actually is Barrel Aged Stout and Selling Out by Josh Noel. So I think I will actually probably read this one after I finish Homegoing and try to finish that. And then Grief Cottage is the next one that I have like the least amount of pages left in. And so yeah, I think I'm just gonna kind of read all the rest of this afternoon. As I said, I really have nothing going on and I do really want to finish Homegoing. And so I think I will check in with you later this evening at some point once I've made some book progress. Hi friends. I don't know how people film in their car because like what angle are you supposed to use? I guess you probably have a like pop socket or whatever they're called thing. But anyway, I'm about to go to Best Buy because I have a flash drive. It's very hot in this car. Let me turn the AC on. I have a flash drive for my video storage because my computer has run out of storage and I like to keep the raw footage in case I need it for some reason. So I'm about to go to Best Buy and pick it up. Got my wallet and my mask. But I just filmed 2 videos today and I also completed Homegoing last night, which was really good. I have a whole video coming up on it because it was for an African Women Writers Project. But I think my plan is once I'm back from Best Buy and Target that I'm going to just read and I will be editing my videos tomorrow. I think it's the plan. So yeah, I just wanted to update you since it is the next day and I didn't update yesterday. But yeah, finished Homegoing. It was really good. And that's about it. I read some more of my other books too. And I will check in with you in a little bit, probably. Okay, the lighting is terrible, so sorry about that. But I wanted to let you know that I am back from Best Buy and Target. It was a journey, as it always is, running any errand during the era of COVID-19. But I did get a book, so I wanted to update you about that, which is You Had Me at Ola by Alexis Daria. This is a romance novel that is apparently Target's diverse book club pick. Didn't even know they had a diverse book club, so that's fun. That is following these 2 telenovela stars who I believe have like a lot of off-camera chemistry, and so they, I think, probably like practice kissing or something, as they are also romantic leads on the TV show, and I am excited about this one. I've heard good things from several different people here on BookTube, and it was like, you know, $10 or whatever that romance novels usually are at Target. I was looking for Jasmine Guillory's Party of Two or Chanel Clayton's Something About Key West book, but Target did not have either of those, so this one it was, but I had a little $5 gift card, so I was like, obviously I'm going to get a romance book. But right now I think I'm going to, one, get a bunch of the vlog footage and also the videos I filmed today off my phone and onto my computer, but then also read hopefully the rest of Barrel Aged Stout and Selling Out. I have like 80 pages left before the notes start, and so I think I could probably get this done today or maybe tomorrow. But yeah, this is gonna be my priority for the rest of the evening. I think I said earlier that I'm not going to edit my videos. Wow, the lighting is truly awful, sorry about that. Edit those videos until later, but so I think I'm just gonna read for the rest of the afternoon. So yeah, that's everything. Hi everyone, it is Sunday, August 16th. I didn't update you at all yesterday because in the morning I was meeting with the families that I'll be working for my job and also preparing some stuff for the start of school because the first day of school here is the 24th, so it's in like a week. So we had to do a lot of kind of figuring out how virtual school is going to work with our team and how the different kids in the different classes are going to all be in the same room together. It's all going to be a journey. Someone called it Little House on the Prairie style, which I think will probably be appropriate, except with Zoom. So that was something I was working on yesterday. And then I also was editing my August mid-month wrap-up, which went up this morning. So I will put a link to it in the cards up above. But then in the evening, I did finish Barrel Aged Stout and Selling Out, Goose Island, Anheuser-Busch, and How Craft Beer Became Big Business by Josh Noel, and I ended up really enjoying this one. So I gave it 4.5 stars, and this follows the creation of Goose Island, which was a craft brewery founded in 1986 in Chicago that was founded by a father, and then later his son was involved in it. Let me find this thing that I was looking for. Aha. So they were founded in 1986. And then this book kind of tracks their growth from 1986 all the way until 2011 when they actually sold their majority stake in their company to Anheuser-Busch, which is the biggest brewery here in America, and it's actually now owned by a company called InBev, which is a Brazilian/Belgium company that is now the largest beverage company in the world. And so Goose Island sold to Anheuser-Busch, much to the outcry of a lot of other craft brewery founders and like craft brewery employees and even employees of Goose Island. But that sale ended up actually creating this whole kind of ripple effect within the craft brewery and kind of big beer scene, wherein Anheuser-Busch ended up actually buying 9 other breweries between 2011 and 2017, which is when this book ends its kind of history. So it's basically tracking that whole situation, the business acquisitions and the kind of growth of the company and the ways in which kind of marketing around craft brewing has changed since the 80s when it was first becoming a thing here in America all the way until now. And I thought this was super fascinating. So I am a big fan of craft brewing. I have been since I turned 21. There was a little brewery called Imminent in the town where I went to school, and I absolutely loved going there. It was one of my favorite like places in town. I always like to go there with friends, and I did really enjoy the community spirit and the kind of love for the craft of brewing beer and like the inventiveness that comes with brewing beer that I could tell was present in all of the employees. And so reading this book was a really interesting examination of how that kind of feel of community building and creativity and innovation is present throughout the entirety of the kind of craft brewing world in America, but also the kind of ways in which big beer has kind of commodified those ideas of creativity and innovation to make a profit and kind of increase efficiency. So this book really kind of explores the ways in which small businesses and large scale like national multinational businesses inform one another, but also kind of navigate the same capitalist free market system, often at the cost of kind of the integrity of small businesses. So that is also something I'm really interested in, is kind of how to allow small businesses to actually grow sustainably without necessarily selling out to large corporations, because I do think small businesses are in a unique position to promote community building and inclusivity within the community, and also creativity and innovation. So this book kind of was a great analog for that larger problem that we see in a lot of different industries, but craft brewing is one of the kind of most prominent, but I would say you also see it in the like independent bookstore world. And I think this book did a really good job of exploring the kind of nuances of that conversation and the ways in which people, even who are part of, you know, companies that are made to make money, that such as like the founders and employees of craft breweries, still see themselves as kind of the antithesis to big national corporations and you know, the kind of greater capitalist system. So I just thought that whole discussion was super fascinating, super well done, and this book in general is just really well researched. I think Noel has a really well-rounded approach to discussing this topic. Obviously, I think he is more inclined towards craft brewing and the promotion of local business over national and international corporations, but he definitely portrays Anheuser-Busch in a way to show like their intelligence as a company and the ways in which they use profit and marketing to push forward this message that obviously a lot of people are inclined to agree with and are persuaded by. So kind of reading that whole aspect was also really fascinating if you're kind of thinking more of a business standpoint and less of like the kind of individual community standpoint. So that all was really fascinating. The one thing that I didn't particularly love about this book, and this is not really a fault of the book, is that just I'm not super familiar with kind of a lot of business jargon that was kind of used a lot by a lot of the characters in this book when discussing kind of acquisitions and marketing and stuff that I just am not super familiar with. And so sometimes I was like, I don't really know what's going on, but I was able to follow the kind of big picture stuff that was happening here pretty well. And then the other thing that was not my favorite was that there are a lot of kind of characters, different players at different breweries, whether that be Goose Island or Anheuser-Busch or someone who moves between those two companies, that he would, once he introduced a person, would use kind of just their last name and not necessarily other like kind of signifiers to show who this person was. And so sometimes I was confused as to who people were, but that kind of just happens with a nonfiction book that involves like 30-40 people. I mean, it has at the end of the book the list of all the people he like did actual interviews with, and it's, you know, at least 50 people. So there's a lot going on here. It's a really complex history and there's a lot of moving parts. So that part also was just not as kind of clear as I really wanted it to be. But yeah, I would highly recommend this book if you are interested in the kind of more niche topics that this covers of like small versus big business, and then also craft brewing. If you're not interested in those topics, obviously this book's gonna be really boring for you, but I did really enjoy it. So I finished that last night. But I do have, as I said, several other books on the go. So I'm 40% of the way through my audiobook, which is The Damned, which is the sequel to The Beautiful by Renee Ahdieh. And I'm really enjoying this one. It's picking up speed quite dramatically, and I am enjoying where the plot is going. Ahdieh has definitely opened up the world a lot more than the first one had, and included some more traditional YA themes. Like there's some fae in here and stuff, which is obviously like a huge market item right now in like YA fantasy, and so that is very interesting. I am enjoying the political machinations, and also the way the romance is playing out is very satisfying. So this one I'm enjoying quite a lot, and will probably be finishing this one sooner rather than later because I am enjoying it so much, and so the audiobook is going pretty quickly. Additionally, I also have my two other physical books that I'm reading, which are Grief Cottage by Gail Godwin. This one I'm about like 2/3-ish of the way through, and I am enjoying it. It's picked up speed a little bit since I last checked in about it. I'm on page 196 out of like 315 pages, so I have about 100-ish pages left to go. So this will probably also be one I finish soon. I think this afternoon I'm planning to do a fair amount of just like reading and chilling. I have some more editing of my Homegoing review to do today, but other than that my schedule is pretty free. So there's this one, and then I'm also like 130 pages into Rich People Problems by Kwan, which I'm also super enjoying, and I definitely want to kind of spend some time with this one and try to get like a more significant chunk of it done, but I don't know when that will happen because this is probably the bottom of my priority list right now. And then speaking of my priority list, I do have my Kindle ebook Yes, No, Maybe So by Becky, Albertalli, and Aisha Saeed. I'm about a third of the way through this one, really enjoying it. It's, as I said previously, a like political YA contemporary, and it's set here in Georgia, which I both love but also don't love because it obviously is talking a lot about the kind of political world of Georgia, which is a very interesting but kind of not super uncommon one, wherein the city of Atlanta and some of the surrounding suburbs are very liberal and progressive, but the rest of the state really is not, and unfortunately due to a variety of different reasons, some of which may be gerrymandering, voter suppression, Georgia, because of that, is often a very like a red dominating state, despite the fact that so many people in both Atlanta but then also like Columbus and South Georgia and Savannah along the coast are very liberal places. They are predominantly where black people live in Georgia, so, you know, make of that what you will. But there's a lot of kind of interesting politics related to kind of political parties in Georgia, and so this book is obviously talking about a lot of that. But since I'm very familiar with Georgia politics, some of what they're saying is like not quite right. Like one of the characters says like, oh, we're living in Sandy Springs and we can't, like, it can't be that conservative, when actually Sandy Springs is one of the more conservative suburbs. So there's just like things that if you didn't live in Georgia, you wouldn't care about. But since I do live in Georgia, I do care about them. But I am still enjoying that one in general. But I kind of need to make a move on that one because I have a lot of other ebooks that I need to read. The first of which is one that actually just came in from Libby today. It was one of these like skip the line loans, which I don't know if every library does this, but both of my libraries do, where you get a chance to read one, I think there's like 14 or 10 or 14 picks that for some reason, I'm not sure what the kind of logistical machinations are because of this, but you can skip the line and get a copy for a shorter period of time of different books that are really popular. And so I got one for Get a Hint, Dani Brown by Talia Hibbert that I only have for 14 days, and I had a hold on it, and I think my hold was not supposed to come in for like months and months. So I do really want to read this one. I've had a mixed experience with Talia Hibbert, and so, but this one, like, everyone seems to like, so I'm hoping to read this one and figure out if Talia Hibbert is actually for me or if she's not, and I should just like stop trying to read her. But I do want to read this one. But then, as I said in my TBR talk, I also have several other ARC ebooks that I need to get to, so I really should be prioritizing my ebook reading, which I might do later today. And I think those are all my updates right now. Oh, I also, now that I finished my nonfiction book, may end up starting What I Know Now, Letters to My Younger Self, which is edited by Ellen Spraggins. Yeah, Ellen Spraggins. I may start reading this one at some point later today, but I haven't fully decided yet if this is going to be the next book I read. But I was thinking about it, so I wanted to let you know. And I think that's everything that I wanted to update you on. You saw me earlier making pesto yesterday. It was really good. I was making a galette, which is one of the things I seem to be making all summer long. I've made like 4 or 5 of them. But this was a like savory tomato galette, and it's like pizza but like fancier, so that's exciting. But yeah, made that pesto, and I think that's everything. I will check in with you in a little bit. It is Monday, August 17th, and I think this is probably gonna be the last day of this vlog, but I might continue it tomorrow. We're gonna see. But either way, I am hoping to finish today Greek Cottage by Gail Godwin. I only have about 80 or 90-ish pages left of this one, and I just really want to get it done. So that is gonna be my main priority for the day. I don't really have that much going on, you know, as you always do during COVID-19. And so I think that will definitely be able to be finished. I also would like to make get a significant chunk of Yes, No, Maybe So read. I'm about 40% of the way through this ebook, and I'd love to be closer to like 75%. So I'm probably gonna spend an hour or two today also just reading that book instead of just kind of reading it towards the end of the day while I'm like getting ready for bed. So that is also something I am hoping to read. And then I also started last night Get a Hint Dani Brown. I said Take a Hint yesterday, but that's not right. I thought I was so smart and I corrected myself from the previous day's clip, but I didn't. I just said the wrong name yet again. But as you can see from the cover next to me, it's Take a Hint Dani Brown and not Get a Hint. So just wanted to clarify that in case that wasn't clear. That is a romance novel that I also have out from the library, and I'm actually really enjoying this one. I think the first chapter has already convinced me that I think I will really like it. So I think my plan is actually to not read this library ebook because I have a lot of other ebooks that I kind of have on my TBR, and instead I've put it on my like next books to buy list, which actually I think at the beginning of September I'm going to make a whole video about my new ideas for my like book buying strategy, because last night I ended up buying several books from Better World Books, which if you haven't heard of Better World Books, it is like a used online retailer that is kind of more environmentally focused and also donates a lot of books to different kind of organizations that are focused on literacy. So would highly recommend if you like to buy used books online. I will say most of the time they are library copies that the library doesn't need anymore, because most libraries buy a bunch of books, especially if it's a big release, like right away, and then they don't need them anymore as the kind of hype for the book dies down. So they're mostly library books, but it's very easy to do kind of like library surgery on them to remove the like plastic covering and the stickers and stuff. So I would highly recommend that site, but I did buy several books last night, and then I was like, you need a real plan to stop buying so many books. So I was working on that some this morning, so I think I'll talk about that kind of more in a whole separate video, my like book buying ideas. But anyway, Get a Hint, no, Take a Hint Dani Brown is on that like next books to buy list, so I think I'm not going to focus my attention on that ebook because I'm pretty sure I will want a physical copy. But I also, speaking of library books, have several library books checked out, and actually just went to the library to pick up a few more this morning. So I wanted to kind of go through those because I think I will likely be reading one or two of them before the end of the month, but I don't know which ones I'm going to read. So I'll probably do kind of try a first couple pages of them and see which ones are tickling my fancy, if you will, at this time. Most of them are due right at the end of the month, and several of them have like several renewals left. So I probably won't get to all of them. Actually, I definitely won't get to all of them, but I have to figure out which ones I do want to prioritize. And a couple of them, they have run out of their renewals, or they like didn't have renewals. So I will point those ones out. But the first two are the two books that I have to read for the BookTube prize for this final round in fiction, which are The Beekeeper of Aleppo by Christy Leftieri. I literally know nothing about this one, but it has quite a pretty cover. I really like that actually. But yeah, so I have to read this one by the end of September. And then I also have to read Tracy Chevalier's A Single Thread by the end of September. So, and both of these have these very peachy pink color covers. They're so nice. Oh, and you can see my cat. He's here too, as always. But so I do have to read both of these by the end of September. I don't super feel in the mood to read either of them, but maybe that will change once I've read a couple pages. And then the other ones I have Very Nice by Marcy Demarsky. I don't know how you say her last name, but one of my IRL friends read this and really enjoyed it. And it just sounds like it's kind of very up my street of just like, you know, a young person gets involved with like her, yes, she never meant to cuss her creative writing professor. Oh my goodness, her life is laid bare on Twitter. Apparently it's like a very kind of millennial fiction type novel, and I love those, so I'm very excited about this one. I also have Beheld by Tara Shea Nesbitt, which is this like feminist reimagining of the Plymouth colony, a crime that shakes the divided community to its core. I've not really heard anyone talk about this one, but I am super excited about it. I think it might be from an indie publisher. Let's see. No, it's from Bloomsbury. Never mind. But I've been excited to read this one, and so I definitely will at least try this out. And then one that I've actually had for all of the pandemic and have not read, so I probably won't read it, is The Five by Hallie Rubenhold. This one is a nonfiction book about the 5 women kind of exploring their lives, the 5 victims of Jack the Ripper, and kind of learning more about like working class women's history in the Victorian period. So I think it's Victorian, yeah, 1888. So I am excited about this one, but for some reason it's just never caught my attention. But I will try to read it now, but it is due at the end of this month and there's no more renewals on it, so there's that. And then one that I talked about in my August TBR is The Sea by Chana Porter. Excited about this one. It's relatively short, might get to it. And then the last one I have is These Ghosts Are Family by Maisie Card. So I'm excited about all 7 of these ones, but you know, with less so kind of the ones that I actually have to read for the booktube prize. So I'm not sure which of these I will get to, and especially since I am trying to read the books off my shelf as well. But I figured since I have these library books, and I think I'm going to stop myself from getting more library books once these ones have to go back, that I do want to kind of read them until before they have to go back. So I think that is everything I want to update you on, but I will come back on later once I finished Grief Cottage and kind of give you my thoughts on it. So I think that's everything for now. I'll check in with you later today. So it's now the evening of the 17th and I've actually finished 2 books today, so I'm very pleased with myself about that. The first of which was Grief Cottage by Gail Godwin, and this one, as I've said previously, is about a young boy named Marcus whose mother dies in a car crash, and so he is sent to live with his great aunt. And basically it just kind of explores the summer after his mother's death of kind of coming to terms with his grief, meeting the people that live on the island that his great aunt lives on, monitoring a turtle nest, there's a loggerhead turtle nest nearby his house, and also visiting this decrepit old cottage that was hit by a hurricane back in the 50s, and one member of a family that was staying there during the hurricane actually ended up dying. So Marcus gets kind of involved in the mystery of all of that over the course of this novel, and while that premise sounded really interesting, this book actually was like super boring and very meandering. I really struggled to get through the first like 200-ish pages because just nothing was really happening, and then it picked up speed for about 50-ish pages and more things were happening. The relationships were kind of developing in interesting ways, but then the last 15 pages were really strange, just did not make much sense at all in terms of like what was happening, especially relating to kind of the rest of the narrative previously. And there's also like an epilogue that's the last 15 pages maybe that truly just felt so unnecessary. It was like tying up a loose end of the story that I didn't really care about, which was Marcus's parentage, like his father, who his father was, because his mother was a single mother, and I just like didn't care about that at all, and I didn't think it was an appropriate place to like end the story. So yeah, I was pretty disappointed with this one. I give it 3 stars because the writing style was interesting, but there just like really wasn't any greater meaning for me in this one, unfortunately. But on a much happier note, I also finished Yes, No, Maybe So by Becky, Albertalli, and Aisha, Saeed, and I am actually going to be doing a full review of this one along with The Voting Booth by Brandy Colbert. So I'm not going to talk too much about it, but I absolutely loved it. I think I'm going to give it 5 stars. I like literally just finished it like 2 minutes ago, but I am obsessed. It was so cute, and it was such a great message of like the importance of political activism and being involved in the political world, even if the changes that you want to see are not actually happening through the system. It's so much bigger than just kind of your own work, but also your own work, and choosing to be involved is what really makes a difference. Like kind of those 2 things and how they work together is something that's discussed, I think, really well and effectively in the novel, especially given that it's a YA novel. There were a couple like things just in general with YA and contemporary I always am a little sketchy, because often I find the friendships between characters to be sometimes fairly problematic. Like often female friendships are just, you know, they are not open in terms of communication, and sometimes friends are toxic. That is not really problematized in the story, but I do think, well, there was a friend who was not behaving in a way that, you know, a legitimate friend should behave. She actually did later apologize, so I really appreciated that kind of indication, you know, because in a young adult novel, obviously there is some kind of lesson to be learned about a lot of the different things that are happening within the novel, whether that's a discussion on politics or even just like friendship or relationships, that I always like to see the friendships be portrayed in a way that I actually think is appropriate, which did eventually happen with this one, so I appreciated that quite a lot. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one quite a lot, and I think this will lead nicely into my next ebook, which is going to be His Truth is Marching On by John Meacham, which is one of my arcs that I have. So this one comes out on the 25th of August and is a biography of John Lewis / a history of the civil rights movement, which will tie in super well because Yes, No, Maybe So took place in Georgia, and John Lewis obviously was a congressman here in Georgia. And also Yes, No, Maybe So involved was kind of loosely based on John Ossoff's campaign, which I could kind of tell because of where the campaign was, and also the kind of way that the political candidate Jordan Rossum was described. I was like, this is supposed to be John Ossoff. So that was really funny because then in the author's note, the two authors actually ended up campaigning for John Ossoff, who did not win his election, but he's running for U.S. Senate here in Georgia right now for the 2020 election. So it was really fun to see that they were like involved in that campaign, and so they kind of had personal experience with like the campaign that they were writing about, which was really fun. So that is all the books that I finished, and then the other books that I'm still reading are Rich People Problems by Kevin Kwan, obviously, and this one I've probably only read like 30 pages over the course of this vlog of this one. It's not been one that I've super been focusing my attention on, but I am still reading and enjoying it. And then I also started The Beekeeper of Aleppo by Christy Lefteri, which is for the BookTube Prize, earlier today, and I only read about like 20 pages, but I'll probably read some more of this evening. And I think that is everything. So thanks so much if you've made it to the end of this vlog for watching. If you found my channel through this vlog and have not already subscribed, please do so. I would love to have you stick around. As always, if you have anything you want to say, please do let me know down in the comment section below. And I think that is everything. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you next time.